Hi everybody, welcome back to Aunt Liz TV International. We're traveling again today. This time we're going east across the Atlantic. We were in Canada last week. This week we're going to the continent of Europe, and specifically to the country of Germany. Now I know some of you have German ancestry in your families, and that's pretty cool. So today's recipe might not be new to some of you, but it might be new to others. It was new to me. And actually, I got this recipe from a friend of mine who is a grown-up now, but he grew up in Germany. And today's recipe is one that he said he used to love helping his grandmother make when he was little. Although he did say he did quite a bit of snitching too, so you might find that that happens to you as well. I'll try not to snitch, and I will keep Taste Tester from snitching too. So today's recipe is called Kalte Schnauze. Now, like happens in the United States, depending which part of the country you're in, some foods and items have different names. So, like, some places say pop, some say soda, some say Coke. In fact, where I live, if someone refers to a toboggan, they're actually talking about a hat you wear on your head, whereas where I grew up, a toboggan was something that you sat on and slid down a hill. So it's just different areas of countries have different meanings for different words. So in Germany, Kalte Schnauze, I looked it up. Now, what my friend said it's called, he said that where he grew up, it means cold snout like your nose. But I was talking to someone else who knows someone from Germany, and they said it means cold face. And then another person said it means cold dog. So it just depends. The cold part seems to be consistent, but the Schnauze part seems to be different. So let's go over our ingredients. We need, these are called butter cookies, or actually butter cocks is what they say on the cookie. You can buy these at the grocery store. If you're making a full batch, you're going to need 2 boxes of these. I'm going to make a half batch since it's only TT and I, so I'm going to just use 1 box. But if you're making this for your family, you want to use 2 boxes of these cookies. You need some cocoa. You need powdered sugar, which is inside here, and then we also need some shortening. Now I've got my pan warming on my stove, and I'm going to put in half of this shortening. You're going to need your adult assistant to do this part probably. Now you want to have it on pretty low heat because you don't want it to get too hot too fast. Basically we just want it to melt and get soft. So I'm going to put this aside. And the next thing we're going to need is a bowl, and we're going to need our measuring cups. We're going to need 2 of them. So the first thing we're going to do is add, now remember I'm making half of a recipe, so we're going to put half a cup of powdered sugar. And powdered sugar is sometimes called confectioner's sugar. We have used this before when we've made frosting. We used it on the Cine Minis to make our frosting. It's really, really good. It's a lot lighter and fluffier than regular sugar. It kind of looks like flour, but it's sweet. Okay, so then we're going to add 1/4 cup of cocoa. And I'm keeping an eye on our shortening to be sure that it doesn't get too hot. If shortening gets too hot, it can catch on fire. I've thankfully never had that happen, but I know it can happen, so you need to be very careful about that. I'm going to just give this a quick stir. See how it's already melting? It doesn't take very long. Okay, let that go. Just a couple more minutes, and in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and stir together our mixture of our powdered sugar and our cocoa. Now, kind of like flour, you need to be sure and not stir too hard, because if you get really crazy, stirring like a madman, it's going to go all over the place. I know some of our younger viewers like to help stir. One of the boys in particular, and he can easily get out of control. He has lots and lots of energy, as most little boys do. So that looks nicely mixed together. So we're going to set this aside for just a minute, and our shortening is almost ready. Now once these few little pieces melt, we're going to take our cocoa mixture and pour it in here, and we're going to make our own chocolate sauce. So, but before that, let's go ahead and get our pan ready. You're going to want to take a small glass dish and take a piece of foil and just put the foil into the dish. And you want to push your fingers down into the corners so you get it all the way in there. This is a dessert that we're actually making upside down because when we're finished we're going to flip this over, so this will really be the top part. So what we're going to do is take some of our butter cookies, or butter keks as they're called, and we're going to just layer them. Now we have made a dessert before that is similar with graham crackers and pudding. This is kind of the German equivalent of that. Actually, I think our shortening is about ready, so we're going to let that sit for a minute and go ahead and put our chocolatey mixture into our shortening. Just get it all in there. Perfect. And then we're going to just stir it around. And look how rich and chocolatey. It's a beautiful brown color. That is amazing. Now we're going to let this cook for just a few minutes. Actually, not even a few minutes, probably just about 1 minute. Just long enough to get the lumps worked out. So I'm going to turn this down pretty low and let that simmer for just a minute. It looks amazing. Okay, and now we're going to take our little cookies. Now these are good to eat by themselves, and actually you'll notice this package is open. That's because TT and I have been snacking on these for our dessert. They're pretty good. Okay, it's kind of like a graham cracker. If you imagine a graham cracker, that's what it's like. So we're going to do one layer. Actually, we'll maybe do 2 layers on the bottom, which is really the top. Now you can see on the bottom these have this beautiful pattern. This is going to be the top. So you have a really nice weave pattern on top. Whoops, I did that one upside down. One more here. Okay, we're going to give this a stir. We want to get it all nice and smooth. So as you can see, our lumps are pretty much worked out. So we can go ahead and turn our stove off. Now what this means now is that we're going to remove it from the heat. And our next step is to pour some of our chocolate over our cookies. Okay, you might want to do this by using a little measuring cup. I'll use the one we measured our cocoa in. So we're going to just take a scoop and just drizzle it right over the cookies. That looks tasty. Okay, and we'll set this aside. We're going to smooth it out just a little bit because we want to be sure that all of the cookies are covered in chocolate. It's pretty good. And now we're going to take some more cookies and do another layer. Now in the end, this kind of is going to end up looking like a candy bar that some of you may have had. That, let's break some of these pieces in half here. Or quarters, however they break is fine. That has cookie mixture and caramel and some chocolate in it. So this is kind of the homemade version of maybe a Kit Kat bar. And then we just layer some more chocolate on top. Now the nice thing about this recipe is we're going to stop at just 2 layers. However, if you really like chocolate and cookies, you could keep going and layer it for quite a few layers. You can make it really tall. Really, your limitation is only the number of cookies you have and how tall your baking dish is. Let's get some over here on these guys. Cover them up. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do, this is just super easy. I told you this was a super easy recipe, but it's delicious. We're going to put this whole pan in the fridge, and we're going to let this sit for 2 hours. Now after 2 hours, what's going to have happened is that the chocolate will have started to harden up, but before it starts to get hard enough that we can cut, it's going to soak into those cookies, and it's going to be delicious. So I'm going to stick this in the fridge for 2 hours. I'm going to set my timer, and we'll be back in 2 hours to see what we have. I can't believe I forgot to introduce today's special guest. We have an amazing special guest today who has some awesome facts about Germany that she's going to share with us. So, special guest, take it away!
Hi, Aunt Liz. I've got some fun food facts about Germany for you. Number 1, Germans like pretzels. Number 2, Germans like bread. Number 3, carnivore Germans like sausage and pork roast. Number 4, Germans like multi-cake with cherries and sweet chocolate. I want to be German. Bye, Aunt Liz. Love you.
Weren't those facts amazing? We have some awesome viewers. I just cannot believe how awesome our viewers are. So it's been 2 hours and it's time to take our Kalte Schnauze out of the fridge. It's nice and set up. So we've got it here. Now this part is really simple. All you do, because we put our foil in here, it doesn't stick to the pan, so you lift it right out and you'll kind of push the foil down a little bit and then you just flip it over. Just like that. You can see here we didn't get chocolate everywhere, but that's okay. So now you're just going to cut it. Let's see. Let's cut it this way. So you can hear how crispy and crunchy it is, like a nice cookie. Whoops, mine broke in half over here. It was ready to be eaten, I guess. We'll go ahead and cut these pieces. And we've got a glass of milk. Look at this. Look at the inside. Doesn't that look cool? You can see the chocolate and the cookies. I cannot wait to taste test this. So we have a glass of milk because that's what Taste Tester likes to have with anything chocolate. I think he's really going to like this because it's kind of a dark chocolate flavor. He loves it. Now, one thing that I did not mention, we made our own sauce, which works fine. But if you don't want to make your own sauce and you want to use the microwave instead, if you want to do more of this yourself and not need quite as much adult assistance, you can also use chocolate chips and put them in the microwave. What you'll do is just put them in a microwave-safe bowl. You might have to ask your mom which of your bowls are safe to put in the microwave. And you just melt chocolate chips, and then you could do different kinds of chocolate chips. So you could do a layer of cookies, and you could do, I'm so tongue-tied ready to eat them. I'm excited. You could do regular chocolate chips, and then another layer of cookies, and then white chocolate chips, and another layer of cookies, and then mint chocolate chips, or any other kind of chocolate that you would like. So that is another idea, another way to make the Kalte Schnauze that would be great. So I'm going to serve this up on a plate. I think this looks awesome. This is excellent German food.
Bring your family and friends.
Aunt Liz TV!
She's a magician in the kitchen.
Aunt Liz TV!
Watched on Mondays and Thursdays.
Aunt Liz TV!
Cooking yummy foods and tasty treats.
Aunt Liz TV!
Give up orders and taste the fun sleep. Aunt Liz TV. It's time to eat.
Aunt Liz TV!
Aunt Liz
Tá,
TV.
tudo.